Welcome back to the Nano Cruising Podcast with your host, Stefan Marceau. Today, we complete the episode with Sven Yrvind. Sven is a legend, and I use this podcast to document such a legendary sailor. Today, Sven covers the building materials used for Cape Horn, some of the factors in seaworthiness in small boats, some advices that he has, what sailing alone is like. You will also learn about his life philosophies, and you will also learn about his very unique ventilation system for small boats.
And then I started experimenting with different materials.
Okay.
And then I started with Divinicel, with foam core.
The foam core,
Sandwich
right.
construction.
Yes.
Yeah, and I started with epoxy.
Mm-hmm.
And also started with polyester fiber. You know, like they have in the sail crews and you know, ropes and everything like that.
Right.
It's very strong.
Right.
But it doesn't have the young modulus, you know, it's not so stiff.
Okay.
Like
It's
people want stiffer and stiffer things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, if you have a sandwich construction, you get stiffness by thickness.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it 2 inches thick, the hull.
2-inch thick.
And
wow.
that's very thick, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
the advantage of that is that you got insulation. Like down the Cape Horn, it be very cold, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Yes. Good point.
up in Sweden it's cold, you know, in the winter.
That's
and
right.
there is flotation in it. So even if the boat
flotation
is
as
cold,
well.
you know,
That's right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you cannot sink it. So it's a very good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then I launched it. I think it was 88.
Okay.
I think 88. I launched it in Sweden and cruised around.
Okay.
And then 89, I met a girl. She never been on a boat and anything like that. But her mother had been on a ferry to England and she didn't get seasick. So we thought they're going to be okay. You know?
There you go. Good
So
stuff.
we took the boat. I took the boat down to France and cruised around there in Brittany.
Nice.
And then I married this girl and we sailed in France. And then we sailed up to Ireland. And from Ireland we sailed up against the prevailing westerly winds to Newfoundland.
Canadian side. Mm-hmm.
Yes, St. John's in Newfoundland.
Right. Right.
And then they were bad to me. This.
I heard a story. I'm Canadian. I heard a story that something about a U-Haul truck that you had to run away. They didn't want you to let you sail out of the country. Is that correct?
Yeah. You see, they were bad. You know, I still didn't have the GPS. I was working with the sextants.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, St. John's, Newfoundland, that's the most foggy place in the world, maybe, you know.
Probably.
And when you're using the sextant,
that's impossible.
so you have to be very careful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and then I made a landfall in a place a bit north of St. John's.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I better hug the coast now when I stay here.
Mm-hmm.
So I anchored up there, and it was in the evening. And then some cars started shining the lights on me.
Okay.
And then I turned on. I didn't have an engine. I didn't have any way to make electricity. So, but I just had a handheld VHF. So I turned it on a little bit, and then they were calling me, you know. I told them, you know, I'm just staying here for the night, you know, because I got no engine, you know.
Right.
And I didn't understand what they speak. I'm not really English speaking. English is not my language. But what they understood was that my engine was broken. Mm-hmm. I said, I got no engine. Well, a small boat like mine, you know, it's only 15 feet. I got no engine. So they send out a rescue boat, a ship, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I wake up in the morning, it was a big rescue boat there.
Mm-hmm.
But the sun was shining now. It had been a gale before.
Okay.
And the water was flat, you know.
Mm.
So I was just staying there, you know. Well, no sailing, they just had one little sculling oar, you know.
Right.
And I spoke a little bit to them, but just run it on the batteries, you know, so I couldn't speak. And I said, why don't you give me a tour? Then they said, do you require assistance? Do you want to be rescued? No, I said, you know, but if you're going to St. John, could you give me a tour? No, we said, we are not in the touring business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I said, so they went away, you know. And in the evening I came there, and I think in St. John's in Newfoundland they have a special day. They call Newfoundland Day or something like this.
Yeah, probably. I'm not aware. I'm not from Newfoundland, but yeah, they probably do. That would make sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I came on that day.
Oh.
And
Wow.
so when I came into the port, I tied up, and there was a police car driving around in the harbor.
Okay.
So I told the policeman, I'm here, you know, could you send a customer? No, he didn't do that, you know.
Mm.
And so I tied up. You know, St. John's is not made for yachts, you know, it's a big ship, you know.
Sure.
But there was some yachts there, like 3 or 4 big yachts.
Mm-hmm.
So I tied up outside one. And one of them, there was 2 women, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, come home to us, you know, and we give you a shower and some food, you know. You've been to sea now for, was it 48 or 58 days? I forgot it.
Mm.
Yeah, what about the custom? Oh, don't worry about it. Everything is relaxed here up in
Nice.
Canada. So.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, but anyway, I wrote a note on my boat. We phoned them, we phoned the custom, but no one answering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no one answering there, and no one, I told the police and everything, and then I wrote a paper on the boat, you know. I wrote I'm going with this woman, and here is their telephone number.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, this is okay, you know. And then we started eating there, and then we got a phone call. It was the custom. Yes, they phoned you before, but no one answered. Oh, they said we were just on the toilet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not too sure. Why were you sitting here? No, you must come here immediately. Okay, so they drove me there to the custom, and they were very angry at me.
Oh, no.
And you went ashore, you know, without telling us, you know, but we phoned and no one was ringing. Yeah, but we were in the toilets, you know. And people, you don't know if you come to a new country, you know, what,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, how big is your boat? It's 15 feet. And so small boat cannot sail here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I said, why not? Waves are too big. I say, this waves are nothing. I've been around Cape Horn. Waves are much bigger there. And they even got angrier, you know. And then they took paper and I said, this boat is seized, you know.
Yes.
And put a red stamp in my paper and things like that. And you cannot sail here or anything like that. But then I had this U-Haul trucks there, and I thought, well,
Mm-hmm.
I get the boat in the U-Haul truck and drive down to the U.S.
Right.
So people in the harbor, you know, they put it in the U-Haul truck, and then I said,
that's what it is.
I cannot drive such a big car, you know. Yeah, no. We care for a domestic market, I said. So there's no problem driving this.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd been up there, you know, for, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years, you know. No one wanted to, it was a U.S. car. So they wanted to go back to the U.S.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, okay, I started to drive this along, and there's no road across the Newfoundland. First you have to drive up north. And then you drive south, and then you get the ferry. But there, you know, the police stopped me.
Oh, no.
And then I went out, but, you know, in Sweden, you have to be polite to the police. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So when the police stop you, you go out and you walk over to the police car and tell them you're here.
Okay. Yeah, it's the reverse here.
Canada,
it's the reverse here. They come over to you and then
so
you
they
go.
They got kind of scared, you know, they thought they're going to make trouble for them.
They thought you were trouble.
They started understanding this.
Yes.
And I told them about this boat you have there, you know. But they said, you're not allowed to drive this big car. Well, that's what they told me over there, you know. They told me they care for the domestic market and I could drive it and I wanted to. Okay, so they kind of nice policemen. I say, well, okay, just drive on, you know, because this is going to be too much trouble if you start dealing with this. You know? So anyway, then I got on a ferry, you know, and we drew down there, and then we come to the border.
Right.
And then what's the problem with the custom there, you know?
Then you have the U.S. border custom to deal with, right?
Yeah, and they said, are you U.S. citizens or a Canadian citizen? And I said, sir, Swedish citizen.
That's right.
Okay, that was good. So, and is that furniture in the car? No, I said, it's the smallest boat ever crossed the North Atlantic against the prevailing winds. Oh, I said, is it a record? Yes, sir. I said, it's a record. So he made salute and say, welcome to the United States, you know.
Wow, nice.
First, we launched the boat up in Maine. I had some friends there, you know, from Tri-Mountain People building. And we sailed up around there, up to Camden and around there.
In Maine.
And then we hired another new truck, and put the boat in there and drove down to Newport, where I had friends, you know. Yeah, Rhode Island. And then we sailed around there, you know.
Yes, nice.
And then
nice story.
We hired another of these trucks, you know, and drove down to Port Elizabeth, south of New York.
Right.
And put it on a container, you know, and send it back to Sweden.
Back to Sweden. Quite a story, huh?
So, this was quite a good thing with this little 15-footer, you know. Been around, you know, France, Ireland, Newfoundland, you know, Camden, Newport, you know, all in 1 year, you know.
All in 1 year. I'd like you to talk to me a bit about the relationship you see between a simplicity and seaworthiness in a small boat. What are the key factors that makes that?
A small boat, well made, well designed, is much more seaworthy than a big one. So you think, why don't people make small boats? You know, they're so much simpler and so much better.
You think it's more seaworthy? What about in big waves? I
mean,
I've been in the ocean in fairly big waves. I don't see myself in a small boat. So how does that behave?
Have you heard about whitewater canoes?
Yes. Yeah, kayaks, canoes.
They go down rivers, you know.
Yes.
And they turn over, I don't know how many times. So
True.
if you design a boat, it's so strong, it will not break.
And
a small boat, smaller things are stronger, you know. It was Galileo, you know, he found this square cube law, you know, that like small things are stronger than bigger ones because the surface increases with the square and the weight increases with the cube, you know. So a small boat, small things are always stronger, you know.
Right.
Like a bottle in the sea, you know, it never breaks, you know.
That's true.
There's no problem to make a thing that doesn't break. With a ventilation system, if it's upside down, no water comes in. If you have hatches that can be closed, you know, it's no problem to make hatches that can be closed. And then you can have a seat belt.
Yes. You must have to be strapped to move around that much, right?
Yeah. And a small boat like the mast, it doesn't break because the square cube law, you can make this as strong as you want, you know. And in fact, when I capsized and pitchfold, it didn't break, you know. So the bigger boat, the bigger the damage, you know.
Right.
But, you know, the problem is like one of my friends in the United States, in one of the boat builders, said, Sven, you should make big boats. There's more money in that. and that's how they think, you know.
That's right.
Boat builders, you know.
Yes.
They're not in business to make good boats. They're in business to make money. All businesses are made to make money. In fact, you said, oh, if you have a company and if you're not focused on making money, you can get sued, you know.
But yeah, tell me more about, some of the common beliefs about small boat voyaging that, maybe people that are maybe misleading and false. You already said, there's stronger people who are afraid of small boats, but you're saying they're stronger.
You see, all the yachting magazines, you know, like when I wrote for Cruising World, I wrote for many years, and
20
I got
plus
to
years.
know the owner very well, you know, like Murray Davis, I think it was called. Half the money comes from advertisements, you know,
of course.
from subscribers. It's more money for the advertisement.
That's right.
And they want to make big boats, you know.
So what advice would you give someone looking to follow a little bit in your footsteps and embrace small boat sailing?
Oh, I don't think anyone should follow my footsteps, you know.
No.
That's the best advice, you know. Don't follow my footsteps.
Why not? Why not? You've done so much.
Well, in fact, if they do it, it's a lot of trouble, you know. But it's a happy life, you know.
It's a happy
and
life.
it's a free life, you know. Yeah, happy life and a free life, and it's a healthy life. And now I'm 85, you know.
Yes.
And many people 85, they cannot sail a big boat, you know.
No.
No. Because on my boat, I just open the hatch and close the hatch. It's the mast. And the sail is 3 square meter, you know. And the mast is like, I don't know, 2 meter or something like that. It's maybe 5 or 10 kilos. And the anchor is very light, you know. So if you're old, well, don't try to sail a big boat unless you have a big crew, you know.
Yeah.
And then you're not sailing alone.
No, it's different. Yeah. How is it sailing alone? Were you ever lonely after? I mean, you had the girls for a while, Yanni Key and so on, but you've sailed a lot alone. And were you ever lonely?
It depends on your attitude, you know. Like some people, I got my curiosity. Yes. So I'm always, you know, thinking about things and problems, and I'm trying to learn. In fact, I tell you, you know, building boats, I do that to understand nature, to understand problems, not to solve them. And if I can understand that well enough, I can understand life.
Right.
So it's really to understand life. I do this, you know, and understand how the world is working and have time to think about it, you know. In fact, Darwin, you know, he started his career by sailing around the world. Do you know that?
I know he was on boats, but I didn't realize he was a sailor himself. Wow, interesting.
Yes, it's interesting. It was a big ship, you know, it was a sailing ship, you know, it was captain and him, or it was a crew, you know, but they sailed around the world for many years, you know, down in Magellan and...
HMS Beagle, I think it was called, from what I remember.
Yes, exactly, you see.
Yes.
And that gives you time to think about the world, you know.
True. Good point.
So, and if you're curious, that's what you want. You want to be, and you know, nowadays you can see people that they have all these earphones on, you know. And they have the telephone. They keep watching the telephone, you know, and screens, and that's what they do. And I take a walk in the evening. Now when we finish work, I'm going to take my night walk. And I don't have any ear, you know, listening to any music or anything like that.
You're just enjoying it, right?
Yes, and thinking. And after a while, you know, the inner voice comes up and speaks to you.
That's correct. I agree. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and the inner voice has so many interesting things to tell you. So, and if you... And people driving car, they have a radio in the car.
Yes.
with music or talking or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I never have that, that prevents your thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's,
so,
I can relate to that. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I see, that's what I like, but it takes like a month, before, well, after a week, I see, your body gets adjusted to
the rhythm.
The muscles and all the physiology, But then if you wait for a month,
mm-hmm.
the brain, all this little stuff you have your brain is getting cleaned, It takes a little while to clean the brain, from all this pollution you get from the living ashore,
I agree.
But living alone, after 1 month, then you start thinking clearly,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing. So, well, you don't feel lonely. That's in fact what you're looking for, Being out there by yourself, watching like the moon and the star and the birds and the fishes and the wind, and the clouds and all these things,
I love that.
It's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
I just came back from a month on the ocean, and the same. I love the stars, and I'm one of the few that doesn't listen to music when I'm sitting outside or reading an iPad or whatever, Kindle. I just like to watch the stars, watch the waves. I watch the waves like it's a fireplace. So anyway.
Yeah, and also you see, my boat, I don't have any self-steering. No wind way, no autopilot. No, I balance.
They're balanced. They're balanced. There you go.
So, and then it's kind of interesting to see, a small boat in the big waves, it moves around a lot,
Mm-hmm.
But still, she finds her way, going straight all the time,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like magic being out there, watching. That's part of the magic, watching the boat.
That is, you're right.
On the sea.
That is right. And what's the boat you're building now? What did you want to do with that? What's your vision for this new boat?
It's for New Zealand, Dunedin.
Oh wow! Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sail south of Africa, south of Australia, and I come up to Dunedin. It's on the southeast coast of New Zealand.
Wow. Okay. This one has a bottom that's a metal plate, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, but I'm taking that away now.
Oh, you're taking that away.
Because it was not very well attached.
Okay.
So now I'm going to put some shallow, lower specs twin keels on her. Like they only are 15 centimeter high.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to I'm going to have some wheels on them too.
Oh, really?
And I'm going to take away the center board.
Okay. Oh.
And I'm going to have a dagger plate instead there,
Mm-hmm.
And there is some, and I will have 3 masts, with small lug sails, balanced lug sails,
Yes. Nice.
So.
I like lug sails.
Yeah, so that's good. And they are so interesting, these lug sails, you see.
Mm-hmm.
What you call it? Because the boom will not lift, because you have the downhaul.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 20% in on the boom.
Mm-hmm.
So it acts like a kick, like the boom cannot lift.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always staying flat,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also 1/3 of the sail is in front of the mast. So it's like, a balanced rudder, but so it's no force in the seat, and if you got a jibe, it's no force in that either,
It's not dangerous. Nice.
The leading edge, like on the mainsail, you got the mast making turbulence, and even on the jib, you got the forestay making turbulence, but there is nothing on the lug sail to make turbulence in front of the sail,
That's true.
They're so efficient, But this is the problem with the measurement rules, They give them a bad thing, and they're also not good for big boats, but in this small sizes, they're okay,
Good.
And I don't want a big boat anyway, so
No, that's
it's
right.
fine for me.
That's right.
And also, a boat with no shrouds, free standing mark,
No shrouds is nice, for sure.
So it's very simple,
Very simple. I have some, maybe a philosophical question. If you could go back in time and give your younger self, we will do that, one piece of advice, where would it be?
Advice to myself?
To yourself when you were young, now that you know what you've done. Is there anything you would change? Or is there...
No, it's not that kind of advice. But one thing I think often, when I was 16 years, my mother was very good, and she sent me one summer to Germany. And then I stayed the whole summer, and I learned German in that way. But I wish she had sent me one summer to England, one summer to France, maybe one summer to France. Or not even one summer, but a whole year. And then I would speak more languages. Now I speak French.
You speak French, don't you?
Yeah, I speak French and I speak German and I speak Swedish and, Norway and Denmark is about the same language. And also speak English.
What more do you want? You already speak a lot of languages. So.
Yeah, but there is like Russian, Chinese and Japanese and there's a lot of languages.
And too, Spanish. I'm sure you've had Spanish, Portuguese, you've been in all those places. Yeah.
Yes. I know a few words of Spanish and it's fairly similar to French,
Yes. I really enjoy hearing your stories and your experience. I could talk to you forever. It's wonderful to hear you. Anything else you'd like to cover for our listeners?
No, but I think, it's a good idea, to have a small boat, But it's complicated because there is no commercial small boats that are seaworthy, like the ventilation system. And also this ventilation system, I might tell you about that. It started in 1974. And then I just had a pipe or a hose down to the bottom of the boat. But then for the amphibia breeze, 78, I made a pipe come across the boat too. So even if the boat was on the side, I forgot that the first time, But then 78 I realized it has to also think about the side. And then I was that. Yeah. And then I realized, that air and water comes in, you have to separate the two. But ordinarily you have a drain box and there is a little hole to let out the water. But then air comes out there too. So I made a little bend in that, so it's got a water dock in that. So that was maybe 2011. And then I made those boats, I was 2020, 2021. Right. I was out in the Bay of Biscay and sometimes in storms, The boat was hit by storms. Sure. They hit with big breakers, and they overwhelmed the ventilation system, so although it didn't come into the living room, But now I got a surge tank. So first I get in there, and then there's a big tank, the air gets into, and if it's water, comes out there. And then I realized that surge tank can drain out at the bottom of the boat. I drilled a hole in the bottom of the boat and I piped that. So, and then it meant that no air can leak out there. Only water can leak out there. And then now the latest one is have one inlet in one end of the boat and one outlet at the other end of the boat. So then the air passes all through the boat, And also I have in the middle of the boat is the living area. And it's a sluice, a bulkhead there, and a bulkhead at the other end. or asleep. So when I open a hatch, and if spray or a wave comes in, it cannot come in the living area.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for the back. So there's little details like this, you know. And there's no other boats, they're not even close, you know. And have you heard about this Frenchman sailing around the world in a 4-meter boat?
Baluchon, yeah. Yann Quinet. He's amazing too.
So I read his book, you know,
mm-hmm.
but he paid no attention to this ventilation system. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and he says, you know, I closed the hatch because water was coming over, but then I got headache.
Yeah, he doesn't have any
oxygen. He needed air, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then he got water, salt water at the same time on the body.
Mm-hmm.
But on the side of the boat, you know, he has barrels, you know, he closed all his things he don't let wet.
Mm-hmm.
But he get wet themselves. So every day, 2 times, he cleans his body with the eau de cologne, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts some kind of grease on it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I don't like that, you know.
Okay.
So,
Interesting. Yeah, you've solved that problem already, definitely.
Yes, I solved that problem, you see. So now it's very dry in the middle of the boat, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the living area, and everything is dry there. And I also think it's a nice idea, this with the wheels, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, when I was in the Falkland Islands for these 4 months,
mm-hmm.
I put a deep draft on that boat, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That means it was difficult to get close to the shore. And, you know, that winter, 3 times in that winter I was there, the wind was up at 100 knots, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of wind.
That's crazy. For sure.
Yeah, it's very close to the port. But, you know, with the wheels, if you have a ramp, you can just pull the boat up and it's safe there. And you don't have to worry about anchor and everything. And I say, almost every port, you know, there's a ramp there you can just wheel the boat up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And now with the boat, you know, my small wheels, you know, I can just put them on the bill scales.
Yes.
And even I go to, you know, Madeira, you know, I can put it up there, or the Azores, you know, I can put it up there and I can clean the boat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a good thing, you know.
Thank you so much for your time. I wish you the best in the new year.
You can tell them also I got my YouTube channel.
Yes.
And I also got my website, Yrvind.com.
Perfect. Thank you. I will pass that along.
And there is a lot of text, you know.
Yes.
People can read it, like a little biography. And
you've written a lot in
the
it.
manifesto, you know.
The
and
manifestos there.
what people can read about, you know.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sven. It's been wonderful talking to you.
I hope people are happy with this and listen to it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. There's so much to learn from Sven's experience. We don't all have to cross oceans like he does, but we can still learn a lot from what he's done. Thank you for listening and spreading the word of nano cruising. Our numbers are increasing well, so this is fun. Really enjoyed to see the camaraderie on the group, the Facebook group, Nano Cruising. It's really fun to see all the different boats, all the different areas that are cruised on. So thank you. I have received several recommendations and they are lined up. I appreciate those recommendations and we'll get to them. Our next episode covers somebody that really espouses the nano cruising principles. It's Justin from the YouTube channel Travel by Water. Justin's specialty is paddle sailing. He has done the Florida Everglade Challenge and is constantly trying new things on canoes, kayaks with the sail. So join me next time for that exciting episode. And until then, remember, seize your own adventure.